What's up, everybody? Today we're on the Bold 1% with Josue. Super excited to have him as a guest. Today we're going to talk about the social proof, which is basically social media and how social media affects real estate, the market, and what Josue has done to use social media. So let's just dive right into it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Peter.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here. So yeah.
Yeah, super excited to have you. When I thought of this concept or this topic, I was really excited to talk with you because I feel like even when we had worked together in the past, you had a lot of really good ideas. And you had like taken a little bit different approach than just like the typical like, welcome to my whatever.
Yeah.
It was like a little bit more, you wanted to be like a little edgy, and then like we kind of took a step back. So, and you even like incorporated a car into it. But obviously you've had some success on social media. What does that success really look like? Like what, have you gotten deals from social media or not really? Or like how would you define your relationship with social media?
Yeah, social media has been pretty good to me.
Okay.
I'd say it's not my main source of deals, but it's definitely that, I don't know what percentage I'd put, but probably like 20 to 30% can come from social media. Social media mainly works for me as like a source of people seeing my face and me posting more, and then the more they see me, the more they get like related to me in a way. They know who I am, they know what I like, they know who I've helped.
Yeah.
So it's, social media is really big, honestly, and I feel like the more we go into the years, it's just grown a lot more. I mean, now we have AI and robots, and I feel like back when I was younger, it was like, you know, this is what's actually going to happen, and it's actually, you know, starting to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, self-driving cars, you know, it's just crazy. So, but going back to social media, yeah, it's definitely helped. I've gotten a couple deals. That listing that you helped me with actually came from social media.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
It was a friend that I used to have, and you know, he just saw my work, and then he just reached out, you know, and it was through social media. So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that people underestimate with social media is like its ability to touch your, like they say in circle of influence, right?
Yeah.
You have like your close friends, and then like, I mean, you might know more as like a real estate agent, but I know the basics. It's like close friends, and then there's like loose connections.
Yeah.
And social media has the ability to connect with a lot of loose connections. And apparently the more loose connections you have, that's typically where more business comes from.
Yeah.
Because like close family and friends, like they're your ride or dies, but like there's not a lot of them, and it's going to be hard for them to give you business often.
Exactly.
But like the people that will feed you the most is like that weak connections. And it's not meaning like the connection itself is weak, but it's just like on an outer ring of circle of influence.
Yeah, no, that's totally right. And like you said, family, sometimes they want to sell their home or they want to buy a home, and that's when they reach out. But most of the time it's going to be strangers that see you through social media. So yeah, those loose connections are great, and the better you connect with someone through social media, the more they'll reach out to you instead of anyone else, because there's a lot of, you know, realtors, real estate agents out there. So something that you have is what's going to connect with them.
Yeah. So if you were an observer of your own social media profile, just looking at it, what do you think people would say, like, these are 3 things that define you? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
Like Coca-Cola has built and spent thousands and millions of dollars on branding. What would you say is your branding?
My branding can be, let's say, you said 3?
3 or 4, 2,
okay.
whatever,
Okay.
whatever you feel like defines like what you have tried to put out there as an image to connect with people.
My image has been, I help a lot of first-time home buyers, as well as our Hispanic population, just because there's not that many Spanish-speaking agents. So it's really good that I know how to speak Spanish and English, so I can help my people as well, because sometimes, you know, someone can help them, but they don't know how to speak the language, so it kind of, you know, creates some confusion there. As well as I really like to give people good gifts as closing gifts.
Oh, cool.
Just because It's a big purchase. I feel like it's one of their biggest purchases, if not their biggest purchase in their life, because, you know, it's a home,
Yeah.
300,000, 500, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But I'd like giving them like TVs that they'll actually use.
Oh, nice.
Or I've given grills,
Okay,
stuff
cool.
like that. I don't like giving the normal Kneaders basket, you know, just go to
Calling out
Walmart.
all those
Yeah.
agents that giving those Kneaders baskets.
Honestly, I am, because our commissions aren't little. Maybe sometimes we don't make as much deals, but we should honestly appreciate our clients because
Yeah.
they chose us out of everyone else.
Yeah.
You know.
So how have you seen that received by like just giving a different closing gift? Do you feel like it's made any difference or?
Honestly, it has, because they're like, wow, you know, we really appreciate it.
I feel like you're Oprah or something.
Yeah, honestly, and they've given me gifts back, like
No way.
gift cards, like, and it's because I like following up with them. I also like making them little, what are they called, like frames of their
Okay.
closing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they hang it up on their wall, and it's something different as well.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, they really do appreciate it, and I can see that it does do a difference because it's something that they'll actually use instead of just random things, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And like you later when you visit them, like if you bought them a TV, there's no doubt they're gonna use it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, even if they don't use it, they sell it. They'll make
Yeah.
something, you know.
Yeah. Like either way, like in the end, as long as like real value is provided, then I'm sure. Have you ever thought of like going like even beyond that in closing gifts, or do you feel like that it was like that's like the sweet spot?
That is a sweet spot, but I do feel maybe I could even do even more. But I feel like I'm doing more than many other
Oh, yeah,
agents.
100%.
But obviously, the more you do, because the closing gift is probably the first part, and then following up with Christmas, Thanksgiving. I also give Thanksgiving baskets.
Oh, cool.
And then their first year, depending on the lender I work with, the loan officer, they also send them out crumble cookies.
Oh, okay, amazing.
Yeah, so just like touching base with them every so often does good.
Yeah. So, for the audience, how long have you been an agent? Because I saw that recently you won a Rookie of the Year award, and I wanted to know what that meant.
Yeah, so I've been an agent just a little over a year.
That's insane. Because I actually invited. So the podcast is the Bold 1%, and it goes over like the top producing 1%. And I try to do a few metrics to identify like who I believe is like probably producing versus like the 80% of agents that aren't producing.
Yeah.
And I put you in that category, and I did not even know you were just at 1 year.
Yeah, it's just been 1 year. I started in November, December last year, and before that, I worked excavation. So it's, you know, very
No
different.
way.
Yeah, very different careers. But I knew this is what I wanted to do because I also got my welding license
Okay.
to weld.
Yeah.
I finished before everyone else, and I actually had a scholarship. And because I finished early, they took it away because I had to be there a certain amount of hours in the classroom.
No way.
So yeah, I had to pay that off, and I didn't even work in any welding job because I knew it wasn't something for me.
Yeah. I've heard welding can actually be like a pretty good paying job.
Yeah.
Is that true or?
Yeah, that is very true. I have some friends that do weld and they make good money, but something with me also, I get really sensitive in my eyes.
Oh.
And although we have the mask on and everything, I was noticing, you know, kind of getting blurry right after. And then
Interesting.
also the fumes also, you know, right after welding every time, when you blow your nose, it's just like black. It's just because it's all the smoke.
Oh shoot. So
And I
that
just
can't be
didn't
good
like
for
that,
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to put my health at risk, you can say.
Yeah.
But
And so like, and very different job, very different job careers,
Yeah.
right? Because like welding is a like do this, weld this kind of job, and
Yeah.
real estate is like welcome.
exactly.
Like, what are you gonna do? So, what drew you to that more chaotic career?
I've always been, you can say, an entrepreneur, or I wanted to have my own business, and I never liked someone being over me, telling me what to do, and you know, if I didn't do something, they'd be on me. You know.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to have my own business, and I thought real estate would be that business.
Yeah.
And it honestly has been because I have my broker, but my broker, he's super great. He helps me when I do need help, but he's not on me of do this, do that, do that. It's more of if I want to make more money, I'm gonna have to work harder, and I'll always have his support right there. And I've honestly liked that. And shout out to my broker Bruno.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always been an entrepreneur. And
Is it a partnership brokerage where like he's been there for a while and you're kind of like his not apprentice but like under him, or is it like there's a whole team behind the broker? And what's the name of the brokerage?
It's called BT Dynamic Realty.
Okay.
It's a very small brokerage. There's only probably me as an agent, him the broker, and another agent from what I know. I'm never at the brokerage.
Yeah.
At first I did struggle just because I did want to have a team and learn from other people. And honestly, I've had to learn everything myself. And it's been difficult, from contracts to meeting people in person to the new NAR rules. And I've just had to kind of learn through it. So I probably struggled with that. But apart from that, it's just been basically myself. And when I need help, I reach out to him. But as far as a team, there is a team, but we don't have meetups or honestly, I haven't even met the other agents.
Nice. So what do you think has been the biggest value add to being a part of that brokerage for you? Because you said like there's a lot of the finer details like contracts and meeting people, the new rules that came out in 2024. But what do you think, what value was added?
The value that I have there is definitely the split. One thing, I have a smaller split than other agents.
Yeah.
But the biggest value is honestly the broker whenever I need help. Contracts, he's always there to help me, whether it's a phone call or a message. Any questions I have, he's always there to answer them. And he's very knowledgeable, where the value that I have really comes from that brokerage.
Yeah.
And just learning from it, because there's a lot of brokerages that do take big splits and don't help you as much, or they just have a paragraph or documents of telling you how to do things, but not actually there with you.
Yeah.
So honestly, I can say any questions I have, I just reach out to him. He answers them. But yeah, I have a lot of value there.
It can't be understated how much more helpful personalized guidance is versus generalized information.
Exactly.
Right? Like having somebody to walk you through those different things instead of having to like read something or like hear a training once and then like just do it by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I can also say a lot of questions that I do have, whether it's short sales or stuff like that, he's also gone through those experiences, so he can always tell me the right answer.
Yes.
Or somewhat close of the right answer. So it's good that he's been in the business, for so long, and he stays updated. Because there's a lot of people that don't stay updated, and they only want to listen to their old ways or tell you their old ways.
That's a really good point.
So it's good to be updated.
Yeah. One last question before we close. I wanted to ask, so you have several thousand followers. How did you get that? Or like, what was the like journey to that? Because I know a lot of people watching or listening that want to get into social media. They want to know how you go from nothing to something.
Yeah.
And like, was it a video that helped you, or was it just over time you built an audience, or like, was it just your social ability in life and then connecting with people in real life? What built your audience?
So I would say it's been I do a lot of giveaways as well, and that's where a lot of people connect with me, and they have to follow certain rules of following every account and tagging people, and then that just builds a lot of following.
Okay, nice.
As well as I also do Facebook and Instagram ads, and then people also follow from there.
Okay.
And then, like I said, I think the biggest thing would probably be the giveaways, just because people follow to be able to earn the giveaway, and then they tag their close friends and people, and then they get intrigued to what you post, so they keep following. So I'd say that's a big part.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, my brother and sister-in-law, they only do social media, and they have like over all their channels a few million followers. Wow. And their biggest thing is giveaways. Yeah. And that's something that I noticed you did too, is you have a lot of giveaways, and like they do pop off actually. Like I saw a few with like several hundred comments, and I was like, okay, this is where there's a lot of traction being made.
Yeah, and Giveaways,
How do you do good giveaways?
honestly, you have to like look into certain factors of, will people like this? Is there only a certain niche of people that will like it? Like, for example, our last giveaway did really, really well. It was tattoos and
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of people do like tattoos, and
Yeah.
we were able to, between all the accounts, target all those people. And then, soccer giveaways when it's springtime for soccer. And then just different type of giveaways that you think will hit. Some of them don't, but you learn from that. And you just try and do like the bigger giveaways where people will actually want to enter. And it's just, honestly, it's a learn and fail, just because you have to see what works and doesn't. But you always get followers from it, and you give back to the people,
Yeah. 100%. Well, thank you so much for coming today.
Of course. Thank you.
This has been fantastic having you. Super fun. And I feel like, honestly, even in this short time, we were able to talk about a lot of great stuff. Is there anything you'd like to add last minute, or any closing remarks?
Something I would like to add is I struggled at first posting videos and worrying about what people say. And honestly, everyone says that, but being for real, I did have that anxiety, you can say, of what will my friends think? And it just comes to a point where you just don't care. It's, if they're my friends or whatever it may be, they won't care. They'll be happy that I'm posting and wanting to grow my business. And even if you do have those people, once you start growing, people will actually want to like see you, and just do it. It's really just do it.
Yeah.
And you'll have success. You'll learn through it.
I love it. No, yeah, the haters will always be the haters, and the supporters will always be the supporters.
Exactly.
And they're both always going to be there.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. You'll always have haters, and it'll just push you to do more.
and anyway, you'll also be like the biggest critic of your own work, because most people just like watch it and then scroll. And that's like their exposure to it. While you like might have spent a day like interacting with this video and like getting ready to post it and everything.
You are so true about that, because honestly, I can say I'm my biggest critic. Every video I do, I probably do less videos now just because I'm always seeing something. Because at first I would I wouldn't watch the whole video, and then I would notice something and I would have to repost it. So honestly, videos do take very long to edit, and to me, I want them to be perfect.
Yeah.
So maybe I have to, have systems where I have people doing it for me. But it does take time.
That's awesome. We're now here with Karen Knuchin on talking about the social proof, but we're going to take a little bit of a different angle on Karen's, talking more about her story, talking more about how she got into the market and what her journey has looked like from like the very beginning to now. And also how many years she's been in the industry. So we can just jump into it if you're ready.
Perfect.
Ready to jump into it. Well, you look lovely.
Thank you.
So happy to have you on the podcast. This is actually the first time we're meeting as well. Usually there's like some kind of interaction, or maybe we've like worked together on a listing, but this is our first interaction.
Perfect.
So you're seeing it live.
That's right. So all the awkwardness,
Yes.
everything.
I know it's so awkward. But yes, no. So let's just dive into it.
Perfect.
So how many years have you been in the industry, and where are you based?
So my husband and I are self-employed.
Okay.
We have a construction company.
Oh, whoa. Okay. I'm loving this already.
Yeah. And so we do hardscapes, which
Okay.
a lot of people don't know what that is. It's basically stonework, masonry, everything outdoors except for like plants.
Okay.
So when you see like fire pits or fireplaces and all that stuff. And being self-employed, retirement is kind of a scary thought.
Oh, always.
Yeah, because what do you
do?
There's no one matching anything,
Yeah.
And so we decided early on that we were going to start buying real estate and get renters in there to pay the mortgage. And then by the time we retire in 30 years, everything, things will be paid off, that will be kind of our retirement.
Yes.
And so every year beginning, we're in our 20s, right? So we just like bought one, and then we got renters in there, and then took a couple years, and then we bought another one. But we use the same agent to buy all of those properties, and I would go with her. I would scout out the properties. I was constantly looking at properties daily. And then when I'd find like a really good one, then I'd call her. Like,
Yeah.
hey, let's go see this one. And by nature, I'm a very curious person.
Okay.
So I would just pick her brain during these showings and ask her questions about real estate. And every time she's like, you should just get licensed. You just need to get licensed.
It's a dangerous thing to tell your clients that they should remove you.
Well, but that's why she's so fantastic.
Okay.
So we ended up buying a property in Provo that the plan was to knock it down and build 4 townhomes.
Whoa. So can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
When does that become like a part of the conversation to knock down a property and build up something new? Like what kind of return do you have to like run the numbers on that?
So this property, so do you remember the Provo Temple, the one that got burnt down?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
The like tabernacle is what it was called, right?
When it was a tabernacle.
Yeah.
So it had just burnt down, and the people were talking about how they were gonna do that was gonna be a temple. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you remember, that construction process was super long because they had to like put it up on stilts and this whole thing.
Yeah. No. So I am born and raised in Provo.
So you know.
So I'm a Utah person. And I remember seeing that and like seeing it completely destroyed and then them like stilting it up where the ground below was gone.
Yep. Because they had to put parking and all that stuff. So that I don't even know how many years that took. But right in the beginning stages or right after the fire, I found this property like a block away. That was the ugliest house you've ever seen in your life. It was built in the 1800s, but
Sometimes they're pretty, right?
sometimes they are pretty, and a lot of the times they're protected as like a historic site, so you
interesting.
can't make big changes or knock anything down, anything like that. But because this house was just a modge podge of like just nonsense, the first floor, so this is a 2-story house. Total, I think it's like 1,300 square feet. So about 750 square feet on the main floor.
Okay.
And
So it's not huge.
No. And it had like 13 doors to the exterior.
Oh my gosh.
So completely like.
What was the thought process there? Do you think the designer was just like, if there's a fire, I want you to be able to exit any single way you can?
No, I think
13 doors.
because there's been so many different owners and they've changed things like, oh, I want to build like an outdoor space on this side. So I'm going to add a door here, or I'm going to treat this as my driveway. So I'm going to put a door here.
So there was basically more doors than walls.
Yeah. And the furnace looked like the Home Alone, like big scary furnace in the basement.
Like from the basement.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I guess those type of furnaces, you're supposed to have a lot of ventilation, and it's like, anyway, that
Interesting.
house is just not up to code. It is just.
Okay, so they knew this thing was not a historical site.
No, it's been
thing was
too many
abused.
changes that it's now not protected.
Yeah.
So I bought it, and it sits on almost a half acre,
Okay.
actually over, I think, 0.60.
Okay.
And so I thought, okay, this is perfect. We'll knock this down and build the fourplex. That has yet to happen.
Really?
Provo City is
The worst?
with zoning. Yeah, because we have to change zoning.
Okay.
So right across the street, which we didn't think was going to be an issue, right across the street, they have, I think, 15 townhomes.
Okay.
So we thought, okay, this is
Easy.
the ugliest house within a 5-mile radius. They're not going to have a problem with us improving the site.
the
building
site,
beautiful
the area.
Yeah. So we would kind of chip away, and we would almost get there, and then it would be a new administration, and then we'd get kicked
No.
back. So it's been this back and forth thing with the city forever.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, we're still working on that. But that was my push to get licensed, because we thought,
Okay.
okay, now we're doing enough real estate. I'm very involved in it that
Yeah.
I should just get licensed. And then when I did, I had my agent be my mentor.
Oh, that's awesome.
So my first like 4 transactions, we kind of partnered up and we split everything 50-50.
That's
And
amazing.
if I were to give one piece of advice for new agents, get a mentor. Because
Really?
that made the, like, I don't think that I would be where I am today without my mentor.
Okay, that is amazing. Honestly, I love that. What a like fun story too.
Yeah.
It kind of ends sad. So is that house still standing today?
It is. It is. And I'm not even exaggerating. It is very ugly. It's a very ugly house.
So if we choose that bit to be the social media post that we give you, then we have to have a photo of that
Sure.
house.
Okay. I will get it.
And like I'm willing to drive to it and take a photo of it just so I can see in person how ugly it is.
It's pretty ugly.
I'm gonna count the doors too.
They've tried to paint it.
Oh
like,
no.
We've tried to. Anyway, I don't think we've painted it, but it's like a brown and beige. Anyway, and it's plaster, so it's all like clumpy looking. And,
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So it's been abused.
yeah, it's old.
Yeah. 1800s,
Yeah.
200 years ago.
Yep.
It's like when the country started.
Yep.
So with that journey, how much now would you say is like, do you do deals for anybody else, or is it just like your own personal investments?
So initially, I think a lot of agents, especially moms, they get into it as like a part-time thing, or kind of like my story where you're kind of an investor. So you're like, oh, I'll just do my own.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that was the thought process. But the more I got into it, the more
You got
excited I
addicted.
got, yeah. And so then I
You got
started
too excited
doing-
about it.
Yeah, because I'm really good at picking out like good investment properties.
Yeah, it
and
seems like you
so-
have a real eye for it.
Except for that, I mean, eventually that Provo house will pay off. I mean, and we paid dirt cheap for that house because it's so awful.
Which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Like even just the land itself might like
Yeah.
eventually give you enough equity.
No, the land, we've had offers on the land, and we're just kind of holding on because
Nice.
again, we've spent so much money trying to get this zoning changed.
Really?
Anyway, so at this point, we're just committed to getting it done.
And it needs it too. Like
does.
even just if you look at the statistics of doors not available for people in Utah that want housing,
Especially in that area.
especially in Provo,
Yeah.
where there's a huge college with 30,000 students
Mm-hmm.
and housing can be monstrous there. Why are we having this old house that like nobody wants to live in that?
No. It's not even safe.
Yeah.
The walls are plaster, and so the electrical is on the exterior. So I don't know if you've seen those.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so there's just a line.
I honestly don't know if I've seen like a house that's like 200 years old.
It just looks like a bunch of taped up, like, extension cords, basically, is what the electrical looks like.
Oh my gosh. Because the walls weren't built for it to be inside
No.
the walls,
Nope.
right?
Because that's how yeah. I mean, back then it was probably just candlelight, and I don't know when
crazy.
electricity was introduced to homes, but that house was like one of the first. I feel
That's
like.
that's funny. That is so funny. So, how many properties do you guys currently have under your belt in your own personal investments?
So we have,
And are you the property manager, or like do you have a property manager?
No, so
that'd be a lot.
sort of.
Business, real estate agent, and property manager. Like you wouldn't be. You'd have like big bags in your eyes if you were doing all those things. Maybe you do. I don't know.
no, so sort of. So
Botox does miracles.
seriously, I get Botox right here. I scowl a lot, so I
Really? So
right
it's just
here.
like
Yeah, so that I don't scowl.
that's hilarious.
No, so when we first got the properties, we get a lot of, my husband doesn't like me talking about this. We have quite our company's fairly large now.
Yeah.
And we
I
get
mean,
a
I
lot-
figured if you're
Yeah.
buying properties and real estate too, like there's a
Yeah.
lot going on.
No, so we get a lot of guys on work visas. So
Okay.
we get the same group of guys every year. And they come and they usually arrive in March and then they stay through December and then they go home and then they come back in March.
Nice.
And on that, it's called H-1B visa. You have to provide housing and all of that. So a lot
Yes,
of
okay.
these properties go to house our work visa guys. And so those ones we manage just because there's not really, like rent is not being collected in those cases. And, we're just managing the property
Yeah.
without really.
No, I've heard of that arrangement
Yeah.
before. It's not like super uncommon.
Yeah, and for us, it makes sense. And so, but we do have some that we rent out to just renters, and those I do have a property manager that takes care of those.
Okay.
So we have, let's see, we have the Provo one.
That sound is the only sound that will actually be picked up by the mics. Is like if you're talking mid sentence and then it's like,
What is that?
because what happens is that's just like this like whole thing. Like this in the morning, sometimes it's super loud, sometimes it's completely quiet.
Is it like the heater?
Yeah, I think it's like the heater. But like once you, because like these are really good mics, it won't pick up that sound right now. But like
When it kicks on.
it like it's like the mics are like, whoa, what's going on? Like that.
Okay.
That sound. But it's honestly not even that loud, and you can do little like adjustments.
And
But
it's short.
yeah.
So we have Provo, and then we had an Orem one. We sold that, and then we have hang on, American Fork. We have 1, 2, 3, 4,
Okay.
and then we have.
And these are all in like the Provo Orem area, it seems like.
Well, we
Or
have the one Provo, and then we have 4 in American Fork.
Okay.
We had one in Orem. We sold that.
and where are you based out of?
I am in Linden, so we live in Linden.
Okay.
And then we have one in Sandy. And then we're starting to get into commercial real estate a little bit.
Okay.
So we have a couple commercial properties. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So to end off, I wanted to ask one last question. So are you like open to getting deals from other people, or are you kind of too busy with your own investments, the company, management? How has that real estate career transformed?
So my first year, right when I got licensed,
Can we ask really quickly too, how many years have you been in it?
5.
Okay.
In March, it will be 5 years.
Okay, congrats. We'll have to
So-
do a little party.
I got licensed right before COVID.
Oh, nice. I mean, I think that was a good time.
Not for that summer, because
Interesting.
everything was just kind of up in the air, and people were like, didn't know what to do, and it was weird showing houses because everybody's like,
In hazmat
because
suits.
this was like at the height of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Right in the beginning, where nobody kind of knew what was going on.
Which was like 2019.
2020.
I know 2020 was like the year.
I think it was around.
Was it only one
Winter.
year that it all happened? Was it just
COVID?
2020?
No, I feel like it lasted a couple years.
That's what I was gonna say. I think like the whole
Yeah.
thing was like almost like a 2 year
Yeah.
or like 20 month.
Because it was at the end of the last presidency, and then it was like a good year into the next
Yep.
president, I feel like,
Yep.
and maybe even 2 years, I don't remember. But so that was really weird. And I remember right when I got licensed, I didn't know any of the statistics. I didn't know that 2 out of 10 agents, make it
Fail.
past. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like their 2-year mark or whatever. I had no idea of any of that.
Uh-huh.
So I thought, oh, it's March. I could probably sell like 13 houses.
13 houses. That was your
That's
goal
what I
for the
thought.
first year.
Yeah, because I thought, oh, that's doable. That's like a manageable,
Oh my gosh.
that's easy. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't think I wasn't being like, a go-getter. I just thought, oh, that's like maybe 1 or 2 a month. Like, that's not.
Yeah, you're like, that doesn't seem that hard.
Yeah. And then and then I closed my first transaction 2 weeks after I got licensed.
Okay.
And then
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Dang. Okay.
So I got a listing, and it was a cash buyer from my open house, which is pure luck. So that was my first transaction. And then I was already under contract for another buy. Anyway, my first month, I think I closed 2 transactions. And then within my first 2 months, I had 3 listings.
Oh my gosh. So it was busy.
It was busy.
So
but
you do both. So the moral of the story
Yeah.
is that you do 4 jobs.
Yeah. But now, this last year, I got my broker license.
Oh, so you're starting your own brokerage?
So I'm going to be a branch broker.
What
for
don't you
Utah
do?
County. I don't know. Sleep.
Oh my gosh.
So that's, yeah. So things are going well. I've been fortunate enough that first year has kind of carried me through the next 4 from just referrals. Like
Yeah.
my first year was really the only year that I went out and like hit it hard and knocked on doors, and then
Nice.
and then after that, like it was just all referral based.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough that I didn't have the pressure of performing or being like the breadwinner in my family, which I think made a big
Because that can add a
difference.
lot of pressure.
Yeah, and then you're not. I think people can sense when you have like commission breath and
Ooh, interesting.
yeah, and so I think for me it was just more of like helping people and offering them the highest level of service, and that has translated into referrals from past clients, and so I've been fortunate enough to perform, fairly well in the
Yeah.
brokerages that I've been at, and
You fall in that category of people where it's like doesn't quite make sense how you're doing everything, but somehow there's like
Yeah.
always more going on.
yeah.
Like most of us have like one job, you know what I mean? Like just like remember that.
Yeah. No, but my husband is also a big part of, he shoulders. I used to be more involved with the construction company. Now I do nothing basically now.
Yeah.
But it's been good. So I think for new agents out there, set an absurd goal, get a mentor.
That's amazing. I love it. Well, hopefully we can work together eventually.
Yeah.
I'd love to like see what you're doing on this, but congratulations. And it's been amazing having you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad we missed the like 7 times.
Lightsaber. You just need to Photoshop in some lightsabers when that
Yeah.
comes on.
Yes, yeah. We'll just have like some like random like a laser beam like shoot across the screen.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for having us. All right, so we're here today with our third guest, Megan McCann. Super excited to have her. We've worked together on multiple projects.
Yeah.
She just started a TV show.
Well, I've been featured on a TV show.
She's a TV show phenomenon. I'm just kidding. Well,
I'm a rookie at best. but
yeah, I
we're
know.
going with it.
So we got to talk about that because today's episode obviously is about social media, but I want to go into that. Like, what was the like process behind that? And then also social media. What's the role been in that? And then also like real estate. Like, what is your relationship with this unique career that most people find themselves in kind of randomly, right?
Yeah.
Like few people choose it. Some people do though. But like usually it's not like someone's first choice, but then it becomes their first choice. So maybe we should just start with that.
Okay.
So yeah, like what is your relationship with real estate?
With real estate, I started in 2008 when the market totally crashed.
Oh my gosh.
So-
Oh, wow.
I feel like
okay.
I was just thrown into the fire and just had to kind of figure
It's like,
it out.
welcome to real estate. It's not there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like 2008, like nobody was like buying houses, right? Like houses were.
No, everything was in foreclosure. Every sale I did was either a short sale or a bank-owned property.
And what does that mean, like for people that don't know, like a short sale?
A short sale is when the owner's in default. They can't make their mortgage payments anymore. And so they have, usually it's about 90 days before the bank takes their property from them.
My gosh.
And so
What a war zone to enter real estate
It
into.
was. So like you would get an offer on a home and you would have to submit all the paperwork to the bank, and then the bank would have to approve it or deny it.
Because the bank's the buyer.
The bank would technically be the seller that holds the note.
Okay,
on
yeah, they're the seller.
title.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the seller could say, yeah, sure, here, I signed it and accepted it, but then you'd have to get it approved from the bank. Because usually the amount that was offered was lower than what the seller
Was hoping.
owed on the property.
Yes.
So the bank was going to take a loss.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it was really tricky.
So did you get into real estate before that happened? Like, or is it like market crash and you're like, let's get it?
Yeah, basically.
Really? Okay, so like the market crashed and you're like, time to become a real estate agent.
Well,
It
was
seems
just,
like the
in
market's
my-
hot.
It was just in my head that it was like, this is what I want to do.
Okay.
And even though the market crashed, I remember I was interviewing with a couple brokers, and
Mm-hmm.
one broker that I wanted was like, I don't want to take on any new agents. Like, the market is crap.
Interesting.
And I just kept going back to him, and finally he took me. And
Wow.
it was very, like, I struggled a long time. I had to have a part-time job as a waitress just to
Oh
pay
my
bills and
gosh.
everything.
Yeah.
But then,
Which I'm sure you did fantastic at. You got a lot of tips, didn't you? You were like, I'm making more off waitressing than I am off real estate.
yeah, basically the first year, that's how it was.
That's what you're like, here's your fries and burger. Also, do you want,
Also, would you like to sell a house?
would you like to
Buy
sell a house? Yeah, you like have your business card like slipped in the burger.
Yeah.
They take a bite of it. That is so amazing. Wow. So, how would you say real estate became a top of mind for career choice? Because there's obviously a lot of benefits to real estate, but there's also a lot of problems with it as a
Yeah.
job too. Like
Yeah.
you noticed.
Right. And there's just so many different ways to go about real estate. Like, you can be a realtor, you can do like what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you market realtors and you market real estate as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
I'm very
So-
much connected to the market.
Uh-huh,
Like if the market's
exactly.
doing good, I feel the
Yes.
influx immediately.
Yes.
Even like more than I feel like most people, because like, and like, it's almost like I feel like in a, not in like a cocky way, but like a top producing agent feels more of the influx than like a low producing agent. And I feel like since I have so many agents,
Yeah.
and typically you get like more top producing agents that's like referring you work or like giving you work, you feel that influx like really strong.
Yeah.
Because like either all your agents that are top producers are like, oh yeah, I got a house listing this,
Right.
or nothing.
Or they have nothing at all.
Yeah, and they're like, sorry, the market's slow right now. And you're like, yeah, that's how it is.
right.
So yeah, what were the factors that drew you to it?
So I watched my brother, I think in like 2006, he bought a house in Sugar House and was living in it and going to college and renting out rooms.
Okay.
So he was kind of being a landlord. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I want to do that. And then before I got my license, I remember I was working as a waitress in California at
Nice.
the Del Mar racetracks, which was like
Oh,
such a fun job.
Whoa, cool. You were
And-
like a race car girl.
It was the horse races.
A horse
The
race.
Del Mar
Okay.
horse races. Yeah.
Horse races. Yeah.
So it was like a super
That's even
random
more
job.
fancy, I feel like.
Yes, they like people have their big fancy hats and outfits and stuff.
What?
It was a really fun job.
Oh my gosh.
And it's such a random memory because I remember this guy that I worked with. Like, we were walking into the building, and like he picked up a handful of sand and was like, there's nothing more valuable that you can own than dirt. And I was like,
You're like,
this guy that knows absolutely nothing, like, this is a genius statement from him, And like to this day, I always remember, like, yeah, there's really, like, that's the most valuable thing you can own is land, property,
Yeah.
dirt, the dirt that your home sits on. And so,
that's crazy.
yeah, and so kind of the combination of like watching my brother do that.
And since then, you started collecting dirt.
started
Just
collecting
kidding.
Dirt.
Just
Yep, here and in Costa Rica. And
Do you bring any jars of dirt? Yeah, no.
yeah, so then I went, my parents like helped me co-sign on a house in Sugar
Okay.
House in 2009.
Which is a hot area.
Yeah, super hot area.
Was it hot back then?
No, and it was a bank-owned property that again
Okay.
had been like vacant for a year or so, and it was like the most stressful purchase I've ever been involved in, just
Really?
because I didn't know what I was doing, and I made some big errors along the way. So we were under contract on that house for a while. We like put a roof on the house before we even owned it, just so
Whoa.
the bank would give us a loan. Like, we did some really stupid things that I would never recommend to
Whoa.
people.
Okay, wait, what? Okay, yeah, just keep going.
So when you're
Too
under
many
contract,
questions, yeah.
like, you get your inspection report, and there were a bunch of things on it, and I was just like naive, and I sent the inspection report to the lender, which never do that.
Okay.
And so the lender took the inspection report, and they were like, oh my gosh, well, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed, and since it was a bank-owned property, they wouldn't fix any of it. So we went in. And like, you're not supposed to do this at all. We went in and like fixed up a bunch of stuff on the house.
No way.
And luckily it worked out. I got the house.
Okay.
And it's been rented ever since like 2009. And now it cash flows really well. And
Let's go.
yeah, so I'm going to hold on to that baby forever.
I
And it's
love
like
it.
tripled in value as well. So
Oh my gosh. Wait, that's
yes.
awesome.
So it worked out. But again, never send your inspection report to the bank or to the lender.
Yeah, no, I can imagine you're like sending these things like, here's all the red flags of why you shouldn't do
Yeah.
this. And they're like, thank you for sending this to me.
Yeah, exactly. And you should never fix up a house you don't own
Yeah,
in order to
that's-
buy it. Like, that was so stupid.
That's
But
crazy.
luckily, it worked out. So
Dang. Okay, so then you got that house. Did you live in it at first?
yeah, it
Okay,
was
you
really
lived in it.
fun. I lived in it. It's a 7-bedroom house, so there
Mm-hmm.
were like 7 of us living there, and some of the girls that I rented to are like my best friends to this day.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, it was really fun. We had like a lot of wild parties and had a great time.
That's so sweet. I mean, and that just shows like, even when, frankly, like you might have messed up on like a few of the like finessings of a
Yeah.
real estate deal, like dirt still is the most valuable thing.
Yes.
Because like that investment, even though you fixed up a house that you didn't own, but now you own, has tripled in value.
Yeah.
And it's renting, and it just shows you like how much value is really in it.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it. I love it. So
Yeah.
what, like in a typical career, there's like a few like securities, right? Why did you forego those securities?
Yeah, like having your work pay health
Yeah,
insurance. and
like the fact that you like
401k,
show
all
up to a
that.
job, get paid, no matter how hard you work, right? Like a lot of my friends that have like gone into some big companies like Apple or Microsoft,
Yeah.
they just go to work and they tell me like, it doesn't matter if I give 80% or 20%, I'm still getting paid the same. And
Yeah.
like a lot of times it doesn't even affect like how fast you can get raised. So, but why did you forego that security?
I mean, for me, I just thought like I'll make enough money to pay my own insurance. I don't need a 401k. Like I'll have rental properties that supplement that. And again, like if you own a property for 10 years, it's doubled, tripled in value. So to me, that was like, that's going to be my retirement is 30 years from now when that house is totally paid off and it's still renting for like $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
That's just $5,000 a month in my pocket.
That's
So
amazing.
I feel like that is going to make me more money in the long run than a 401k or having someone pay my health insurance. So
Yeah.
to me, like that's my retirement is just, hopefully adding more and more properties. And then, once I'm done and I don't need to sell real estate anymore, I can just sit back, live the good life, collect
Yeah.
that rent.
Live in that Costa Rica house.
Yeah.
right?
And go to Costa Rica and just chill out on the beach.
So, which is like the next thing I honestly want to talk about is like, why Costa Rica? So for those that don't know, the backstory is like you have a house or a few houses.
Yeah, I just finished building the 3rd house that
Okay.
I built in Costa Rica.
Oh my gosh.
Over
So-
the last 5 years, I think.
So 3 houses in Costa Rica. Why Costa Rica? Like I work with a ton of agents and I've never heard that, but like I know it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And coming from you, who's so level-headed, I'm sure it was well thought out.
Yes and no. Like the first time I went to Costa Rica, I went with my friend. And
Tell
my
me you
best-
at least own these houses before you built them, right?
Yeah. Yes, I did. I owned the land.
Good.
Yes, and I didn't need a mortgage to build them.
Wow.
either. So
That's amazing.
That was a good part as well. But yeah, the first time I went to Costa Rica, it was again, I had like a little moment where the universe was just like, you need to come live here. Like I was standing in the rainstorm, just like, I need to come live
my
here.
gosh.
So over a few years, I just kept traveling there and I'd go for like 4 months and
Oh wow.
I was like, I'm gonna go and become a really good surfer, and that
That's
was
sweet.
my goal.
Are you
It's like,
good-
I
are you
wanna
a
be
good surfer?
There was a point where I got pretty good,
Okay.
but now it's been like a few years that I
Yeah.
haven't surfed. So that's gonna be my next goal this year. Is like I got to
Okay.
get back into surfing. Just 'cause
Nice.
it's just such a good thing for your
Oh, for
body,
sure.
for your mind. Like gets you in good shape. And again, it's almost like a spiritual thing when you're out in the water and there's like dolphins jumping and the sun setting into the ocean. Like
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah. No, I actually got to go surfing like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, did you?
I went to Hawaii.
Oh, awesome.
It was awesome. And they were holding the eddy competition.
Oh, yeah.
This is like the big wave.
Huge.
And they have to be like 40 to like 60 feet.
Yeah.
Like consistent.
It's amazing. I lived there for a while and I
Okay,
got,
really?
for like 6 months, 2 different years. So for about a year, I lived
Okay.
in Hawaii on the North Shore.
Same.
And that's like where I fell in love with surfing. And it's like, that's a magical place as well.
Yes. Yes. So what is your long-term goal? Because like you only can live in one house at a time, right? So
Right.
having 3 houses, what is your long-term goal with these houses?
Well, so I sold the first 2 already, and then the
boom.
3rd one that I just finished building is under contract. So hopefully it's closing at the end of the month.
Oh my gosh.
That one, that was a quick turnaround. Like once I got it a little furnished, and my videos and everything, boom, like the next week it was under contract. So
Oh my gosh. So like what is the, just out of curiosity, like what is the like flip, like what is like the juiciness of that deal? Like,
Like
is
the
it
numbers?
like,
You wanna know the
well, I
numbers?
mean, you could tell me the numbers or you could just be like, it's pretty good. Either way.
yeah, it's good. I think you can like double your money
Okay.
for the most part.
Wow.
And for me, I just want to like keep building over there. So I'm not trying to go in and buy like
A bunch.
a bunch of land and build a bunch of houses. Like, you know, I'll do 1 or 2, probably like 1 to 3 a year. And I always take on like I have some really good friends that are building with me and clients here in Utah that are building with me over there. So the one the first 3 I built, I did with actually, sorry, let me rewind. I did 2 by myself and then 1 with a partner here
Okay.
in Utah who actually does real estate.
Oh, awesome.
And then I helped a good friend here in Utah buy land, and we built 3 houses and a pool on the lot.
That's
And then we had those
amazing.
pre-sold to like his friends and my friends and colleagues in the industry before they were built. So those were really great.
Yeah.
And then we've got another one in the works over there.
So
that
how
are
many
Utahns.
square feet is like, how many square feet typically is one of these houses?
The one
And
I
what
just
do they sell
built-
for?
Yeah, the one I just built is a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom with a private pool. It's like a
Wow.
5-minute drive to 3 different beautiful beaches.
Oh my.
It's about 1,230 square feet.
Okay.
And it's selling for $248,000.
Amazing.
Yeah, and
That
you
is
can do like
amazing.
Airbnb rentals, long-term rentals. There's
Oh my
no
gosh.
restrictions. So
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so it kind of is like a little El Dorado out there.
yeah, it's the wild, wild west out there. Like
Oh my gosh. And you just have like a group of like construction, like
I've got a really good builder. He's a local.
you need a fantastic builder.
You
for this.
need a good team out there. Like I've got a couple different lawyers that I've used before. I trust. They speak great English. My
Nice.
builder speaks really good English and Spanish. And
Do you
yeah.
speak Spanish?
I do.
Okay.
I'm kind of like Spanglish.
Spanglish.
You know?
Spanglish.
I know
Yeah.
enough to get by.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. So I wanted to end off with this question.
Okay.
So in like a chaotic market, you know, because real estate can be so chaotic.
It's very chaotic. Yeah.
Because a lot of it is like quick deals and like emotional buys.
Yeah.
How have you maintained such a calm, peaceful energy?
You just never can celebrate until the deal is done. Like,
Okay.
honestly, even if you get it under contract, it's all exciting. You can post about it. Oh, got this property under contract. But until it is closed and you've got that check in your hand, like, don't celebrate.
Okay.
And just know that there's a million different ways a deal can go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some crazy fallouts in the past. You
bet.
know, like you show up to the closing table and your buyer doesn't show up, and you're like, "What's going on?" They just lost their job, so they can't get the mortgage.
Oh my
Like there's
gosh.
there's been a lot of crazy
my
scenarios
gosh.
where you're like expecting it. And
So
then
how
it
do you
doesn't happen?
how do you like obviously you don't celebrate. That's one part of it. How do you not get stressed out? Or do you get stressed out?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of stress.
But you always seem so calm. Like your like demeanor is just like always so peaceful. Feels like, you know,
Well,
it's
you
fine.
have to
Like I
be-
showed up to a house one time to shoot for you and there was like people like painting the walls and you're just like, hey,
Yeah.
like it's
there was
fine.
like a baby on
Yeah, there
the
was like
ground, and
there was
people
like
were
but-
taping the
yeah,
wall
like
and
I
painting.
walk in, there's like 2 people like doing something to the carpet and painting,
Yeah.
and then like they're like someone's like nursing a baby, and I was like, there's a lot going on here, and you're like they're gonna be out of here
It's
quick.
fine. Let's just film the back
Yeah,
bedrooms
yeah.
first. We'll get that corner later.
Yeah, like while most people would have been like, oh my gosh, like I'm so sorry about this. Like there's just a different approach to you where it's like, hey, like, is it okay if we just start with this? And that energy is like contagious in like
Yeah.
a lovely way.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. I
So,
appreciate that.
So like, is it the surfing?
I
You just
mean-
like, in your mind is like dolphins and surfing constantly
In
going
my
on?
mind, I'm probably freaking out, but like if I freak out, everyone else is gonna freak out. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to be the level-headed person in the room, and you have to be the one to calm everybody else down. You know.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you just have to
That's
chill.
amazing.
You have to be calm. You got to make sure everybody else is calm, and just don't jump to worst case scenario. You know, a lot of times that always happens. Like,
Yeah.
the funds haven't cleared yet. What's going on? Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to do this and this, and it's just like, just relax. Like,
We don't know.
it's okay. Don't go to the worst case scenario until it happens. You know.
Yeah.
'Cause I
love
think a
that.
lot of people will spiral, and you just have to be like, calm down. It's okay.
Uh-huh.
Just
So
relax.
would you say you're more of like a real estate agent or like a therapist?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, being a real estate agent is being a therapist, honestly. Like, there's so many different problems. You get couples that are going through a divorce and they're
Yes.
constantly fighting, and you
And-
have to be the level-headed mediator between
Wow.
them. And you definitely have to think out of the box to like get deals done sometimes.
Dang. That's crazy. That is crazy. Well, it's been fantastic having
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you.
thank you for having me. This
Yeah.
is my first podcast. I'm excited.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, wait, this is awesome. I mean, we got to have you again for sure. We got to
I'd
have you
love to.
again. This is like mostly just like a referral based podcast on like, I try to just get like the best agents that like really have some good experiences and then bring them on.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And so I thought of you and I was like, this would be fantastic.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm flattered that I was even considered.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. So, just to end off, we can either end off there, or is there any like last thoughts you wanted to add? Anything you wanted
Well, I
to
know
say?
like a lot of your questions were
Social media based.
social media based, and then there was one that was like, what advice do you offer to new agents coming in? So
Is it, and to just so we can make a social media clip out of it, is it okay if I ask that question?
yes, please.
So, what is advice you'd give new agents entering the market?
Okay. Entering the market can be really overwhelming, but the best thing you can do is surround yourself by successful people that you can learn from, you can help, and you have to be prepared to work your butt off. Like, it's not easy. You got to get in, network with people in your brokerage. Choose a good brokerage, first of all, because, you know, they can help you with your marketing, your website. They give you the tools that you need to succeed. And then the number one thing that helped me in my career was just, you know, hitting up all the top agents in my office, being like, hey, do you need open houses? Do you have
Picking up that
buyers?
slack.
Like, what can I do to help you? And so like the biggest thing that helped me getting into real estate and being able to stay in real estate was like being a showing agent for other realtors. They pay you like per house that you show. Because some agents have so many clients, they are overwhelmed and they need help, but they don't know who to reach out to and stuff. So that would be my best advice, is like reach out to the top agents, see if you can help them, do open houses, post all your open houses, you know, advertise their properties as well, just so everybody knows every single day that you're out there hustling, you're working, and like you're trying your best.
I love it. I love it. Fantastic. Fantastic. I want to give you a hug. That was so good.